They call it a pirate story, an adventure across open seas, a hunt for treasure at the edge of the world. That is how it is usually described. But that explanation has always been too small. From its earliest moments, this story has been concerned with something far older than piracy. It is concerned with what happens when history is erased. In this world, there is a century no one is allowed to study, a missing stretch of time, a blank space between recorded eras, sealed away without explanation. No books describe it, no schools teach it, no monuments acknowledge it. Even asking about it is considered a crime. This absence is not a mystery meant to entertain. It is not a puzzle waiting to be solved for curiosity's sake. It is a warning, because the greatest threat to power is not rebellion, it is remembrance. Rebellions can be crushed, armies can be defeated, voices can be silenced. But memory is different. Memory moves quietly. It passes from person to person, from place to place. Once something is remembered, it becomes difficult to contain. The ruling authority in this world does not maintain order through strength alone. It does not rely only on weapons, soldiers, or laws. It maintains order through silence, through the careful control of what the world is allowed to remember. History is not treated as a shared inheritance. It is treated as property. And only a select few are permitted to decide what survives. Whenever fragments of the past resurface, the response is absolute. Libraries burn, not in chaos, not by accident, quietly, deliberately. Shelves collapse into ash long before questions can spread. Islands disappear, not through natural disaster, not through erosion or time, but through erasure. One day they are present, the next they are simply not spoken of again. Maps change, records are revised, witnesses vanish, people are erased alongside the knowledge they tried to preserve. Not because the truth would destroy the world, but because it would reveal how the world was built. It would reveal who benefited and who was buried beneath the foundation. In this world, knowledge is treated like contraband. Words are more dangerous than weapons. A blade can take a life, but an idea can outlive generations. A soldier can be defeated. A memory cannot be killed so easily. This is why scholars are hunted more aggressively than soldiers. This is why archaeologists are silenced. This is why the past is feared. The ancient stones scattered across this world do not offer power or riches. They do not grant weapons. They do not promise conquest. They offer memory. They were carved to endure fire, time, and destruction. Their creators understood something simple, that lies depend on time, and truth only needs endurance. These stones were not meant to be convenient. They were meant to survive. Because if history survives, lies cannot rule forever. The sea matters in this story for the same reason, because the sea cannot be owned. It refuses borders. It ignores authority. It connects places meant to remain isolated. Across the sea, stories travel, not through official channels, not through approved records, but through movement. Those who sail carry fragments of truth between worlds that were deliberately separated. They bring rumors, songs, old names spoken in unfamiliar places, and once something has been heard elsewhere, it can no longer be completely erased. This is why pirates matter in this story. Not because they steal, not because they fight, not because they defy the law, but because they move freely. They exist outside the systems designed to contain memory. Their journey itself becomes an act of preservation. Each island visited, each story exchanged, each fragment carried onward. The world is not changed all at once. It is changed quietly, piece by piece. The treasure was never meant to be gold. Gold can be hoarded, gold can be controlled, memory cannot. The treasure was meant to be a complete memory, a truth large enough to connect what was deliberately broken apart, a truth that turned silence into laughter, not because the past was harmless, but because the lie that replaced it can no longer survive. Laughter, in this sense, is not mockery. It is release. The sound made when something long suppressed finally loses its power. The past does not disappear on its own. It has to be removed. Someone has to decide what is allowed to remain and what must be cut away. That decision is never announced. It is never explained. It simply becomes reality. But not everything can be erased. Some stories are allowed to survive, not because they are harmless, but because they are misunderstood. They are shared. They are repeated. They are laughed at. And in that laughter, something endures. Because stories that feel like fiction can carry truths that history cannot. This is why One Piece was never really about pirates. It was about memory, about inheritance, about a past powerful enough to frighten those who control the present. A story that understands that truth does not always return as history. Sometimes it returns as folklore. And in a world built on forgotten voices, the most radical act is not rebellion, it is remembering.